Welcome to another stage analysis video. I did a special video on the midweek video covering with numerous stocks from the watch list starting to break out into early stage two, already moving in stage two as we've seen some strong moves over the course of the last week or so. So did the special feature on that. So if you want to go back and see stage two breakout attempts, there's lots in that are covered. For the weekend video, I'm going to get back to the more regular content. I'm going to look at what's going on in the major indexes, the industry groups, relative strength rankings, the bell curve, get stuck into the market breadth data, which is so crucial to the stage analysis method, which I think many people fail to cover in a good way. So we try and go in depth every week with the market breadth data, and then finishing off with some of the watch list stocks from the weekend scans. So starting today, as always, we're looking at the S&P 500 to begin with. So the indexes at the moment, that's lagging behind what we're seeing in the actual individual stocks and the market breadth data. You can see in the S&P 500 here, we're approaching what could potentially be the stage two breakout level. So around the 4,100 to 4,200 level is the major resistance zone that's been tested multiple times. And obviously the near-term pivot that formed above the 200-day moving average. One of the rough guide when doing stage analysis is the first major pivot above the 200-day moving averages. It can be a good guide for where you potentially could form a stage two breakout level, and then you want to look and see if there's other tests of that area. So in the near term here, at least in the S&P 500, we've got 3 tests since all the way back into September there, but you can see it's also been a major resistance zone back through June to September there as well. So this is the potential stage two area in the S&P 500. We're only just closed above the 200-day moving average on Friday for the first time in a little while here. So percentage of stocks above their 20-day EMA down the bottom here is up to 84.4% there. If we look into go to the equal weighted chart here, you can see it's outperforming slightly. So if you go back one, can compare to, and then go back to the equal weighted again, you can see we're actually testing these recent pivot highs that formed above the 200-day moving average here. So, and again, got some other areas of old resistance in this zone. So it's approaching the stage two breakout level on the equal weighted chart as well. And you can see the percentage of stocks above their 200-day moving average here is now at 66.2, which obviously with 2/3 of stocks in the S&P 500 above their 200-day moving average, it's potentially moving into a stage two environment. So we're on the borderline at the moment. If you look at the weekly chart, you can see it a little bit more clearly, touching that downtrend line again, and the horizontal resistance that formed the lows of the stage 3 range and has formed the top of the potential stage 1 area here. So testing that top of the stage 1 range, so looking for a potential stage 2 breakout attempt, although we are extended in the short term in many stocks, so I wouldn't be surprised to see consolidation or a pullback. We look at the normal S&P 500 chart, you can see it's lagging a bit as we saw on the daily chart there. But again, that stage 2 breakout level is still not far away there. Only look at it on a percentage basis. Need to move around 3 to 4% to start to potentially move into stage 2 on the index chart. But as we said, many stocks and many groups are already in stage 2. So regardless of what the index is doing, we are actually seeing positive behavior in a lot of the market under the surface. So stocks are what make up the market, not the indexes. So we look at those first. If we look at the Nasdaq Composite here, you can see it's been lagging. We've talked about this many times. Still underneath its 200-day moving average, still got about 5% to get back up to the 200-day moving average here, but back above the 50-day Thursday, Friday there. So starting to look a little bit more positive in the short term. But we look at it on a weekly quickly, you can see big move on the week, but potentially forming a stage 1 base. If you look at the Nasdaq 100 low, you can see on the equal weighted basis, you can see this is showing much better performance as we saw with the S&P 500 equal weighted. You've got the 10-week moving average back above the 30-week moving average, which is both are rising. Relative strength versus the S&P 500 edging back above that zero line again. So this has got potential to actually move into stage 2 in the coming week if it had a strong week. So as it's not too far away, whereas if you looked at it versus the normal Nasdaq 100, you can see it's still below its 30-week moving average. which is still declining / starting to flatten out there. It's got a little bit more to go in that regard to get back towards a potential early stage 2 breakout level there. Look at the Russell 2000, also testing that stage 2 breakout level. Again, we've got some near-term pivots formed above the 200-day moving average here a few times, and also tested from earlier on a major resistance zone that it's been in all the way for the last year. So we can, as I've talked about on previous videos, we can pop through this 190 level on some decent relative volume there, then potentially that could move the Russell 2000 out into stage 2 as well. You can see on the weekly chart here, just testing the top of the range there. So within this broader stage 1 structure. QQQJ is the second Nasdaq 100 stock, so a bit more of the mid cap stocks as well in there. So this one's doing much better than the actual Nasdaq 100 itself. Got a couple of pivots above the 200-day moving average that have formed. You've got this broader base structure that's been forming all the way back since May. So it undercut with that terminal shakeout back in October there, starting to come back in again. So potential last point of support here, starting to move up and approaching potential stage 2 breakout level. So if we look at this on a weekly time frame, you can see stage 2 breakout level here. We pull it across from further old resistance as well. We've got this whole area here that's been tested multiple times. So a strong move through this 26 level up towards that 27 area would be a potential stage 2 break on that. You can see the 10-week moving average rising, the 30-week moving average rising, and relative strength versus the S&P 500 just starting to outperform. So this is also in position to test that stage 2 level as well. Doesn't mean it's going to, but it is in position to make an attempt at it. So let's look at these from what we call the stage analysis technical attributes indicator, so score on this. So it gives it a score from 0 to 10. So based on the things that we look for in the stage analysis method. So there's 10 each of the 10 criteria. You can see basically the S&P 500 here futures is at its highest level that we've seen since back, what's that point there? Actually since the top. So it's the strongest technically that it's been according to the technical attribute score that it's been since it actually topped. And then if we look at the Nasdaq 100, this is tipped off a bit with the open today, so down to a SART of 4, slightly better than that at the close on Friday. So we're only in one of the overnight futures here, so we'll see how that progresses. But at the moment, this is still in the developing stage 1 with a SART score of 4. Dow Jones Industrial Futures. So again, we've got a score of an 8 at the moment. It's tested that stage 2 breakout level again, attempting to move into stage 2, potentially with the close back above it again. It's back in, making a stage 2 breakout attempt there. We look at the Russell 2000, as I said, with the ETF chart there, testing that level, coming right up into it again. SART score of an 8 there out of 10, and the stocks index future Euro Stoxx 50 is already in stage 2 for a while now, so made a continuation breakout last week and got a SART score of 9. Dollar index futures continues lower in stage 4 now. It's been breaking down since that original buying climax that we talked about back here. So it's been dropping off since late September there. So after the buying climax, automatic reaction, secondary test, and then started to break down and started to break these more significant levels and followed through over the last few weeks now. So definitely back in stage 4 now with a SART score of 0. T1 futures, you can see it's starting to consolidate. Hasn't yet had a close above that declining 30-week moving average, but we've got a higher low potentially here starting to form. So potential stage 1 behavior developing. It's in SART score of 5, so middle of the range at the moment. So in the stage 1 potential range, could still be a 4B minus here maybe. So we need to see a little bit more start crossing above and below that 30-week moving average a bit. Gold still holding in early stage 2, got SART score of 9. Silver, SART score of an 8 at the moment in early stage 2, and oil. So oil improved a little here. We're up to a SART score of 3, but continues in its stage 4 decline at the moment. Get copper up. So I talked about, highlighted copper last week on the open as it was moving into early stage 2. Had a really strong week, SATA score of 9. So, see, highlighting strength in the economy there at the moment. In terms of, doesn't necessarily mean the economy is strong, but you tend to not being in a recession when copper is moving out into stage 2. Obviously, we might be, but obviously copper is not signaling that at the moment. It could still fail here, but had a really strong week, so we want to see that continue on. Back to here. So VIX made a lower low here, starting to break down. If we do get a spring back into the range here, obviously we'd expect stocks to come off a bit if it starts to recover, but hopefully that can continue to drift lower. That will put things in a more positive environment if it does.